New VR games! It's that time of the week where we get to talk about brand new VR games that came out this week, new games that are coming out next week, and of course some of that VR news. Now seriously, the VR news section this week is kind of unhinged. There's a lot of it this frickin' week. But of course, before we dive into that, if you wouldn't mind being so kind as to smash that like button, and of course subscribing if you're new, I would massively appreciate you. Now let's dive into the new VR games that came out this week. Kicking this all off, because it's the one and only game that really came out this week, is MudRunner. Now, I actually covered this in a full video yesterday. This game actually blew my socks off just a little bit because it's actually turned out to be one of the best games I've played in a hot minute. Now, of course, it comes with a little bit of a caveat, as there is no free motion in this game. It's all sort of just teleporting, which is very 2016. But I will say, as a bit of a caveat to that, you do spend about 95% of the time in your car, so it really didn't hold back the experience from my enjoyment, as well, you spend a lot of time driving in this game being a mud runner after all. There are a few moments where you have to get out of the car to be able to sort of go and hook on something, which it does feel like it detracts from just slightly, but other than that, this game is actually pretty flipping huge to begin with, as each of the maps that you get to go in really feels like a semi-open world environment where you can go and explore if you really want to, as well as doing the campaign mode in. Honestly, this one's got pretty damn high praise from me, as it not only looks good, plays great, and just in general feels like a really good example of a good VR game, minus the movement. Then this one for you, I would recommend. VR game news. Well, this is where it starts to get very freaking interesting, plus a little complicated, because today we're going to be talking about Behemoth VR, except for I cannot talk to you about the experience I've had in this game, so instead we're just going to dissect this trailer, because my embargo hasn't quite lifted in time for me to be able to talk to you about this game yet, but expect that video very soon. Now, yesterday they released at the State of Play some gameplay footage for Behemoth, and my goodness, does this look phenomenal. I honestly cannot wait to be able to talk to you guys more about this situation. Until then though, I feel like I'm going to have to just step back a little bit and sort of observe this trailer, and honestly, it kind of blew my mind to see obviously some of the giant behemoths that you're seeing, including the mammoth one that you get to see at the very end of this trailer. Of course, some of the sword fighting, the enemy fighting, the grappling hook, all of these beautiful, beautiful things. And again, of course, I'll have a lot more to say on this very soon. Keep your eyes peeled to the channel. Next up, we got our first peek into Alien Incursion. Now, unfortunately, the trailer for this, while it had some wow qualities to me, as in, the game looks like it's going to be a pretty fleshed out Aliens game, there were some pretty lackluster moments in there. In the fact that, really, it's probably one of the lowest frame rate trailers I've ever seen, and it looks very scrappy in the sense that they just sort of put together any finished items that they had, and the frame rate on them was kind of awful. Now, I still have relatively decent high hopes for this game, and God please let this deliver, because it's a big IP that could really draw some people into VR. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this down below. This is an early look into some gameplay footage, so I'm not going to penalize them for that, but it does feel like that maybe you shouldn't have showed anything if you didn't have anything to show just yet. Next up, we've got the news that Black Forge is going to be making its way to the Quest. This game looks really interesting. It's a very chill looking game where you're going to be actually just blacksmithing out some swords. It looks like you do them to order, to what people are going to be ordering them in as. You make them, produce them, and then you sell them on. It looks like a really chill and relaxing experience where you're just going to be forging weaponry. Honestly, kind of like the look of this one. Looks like a very chill thing that I could get my teeth into and just proper relax in VR for a little bit. So I'm looking forward to finding out a bit more about this as it drops this month. Arizona Sunshine 2 just finished off the season with a brand new Horde map. This one looks really cool. I'm looking forward to getting my teeth into this and just having a go at it myself, as honestly, the Horde maps in this, they could be quite fun. It's very reminiscent of playing something like After the Fall. Hopefully this one sort of lives up to what I'm expecting it to be. But yeah, if you're in the game, this is another reason to jump back in and get into the game, and of course really just, shoot a bunch of friggin' Freddies or, zombies. So if you're looking for some fun to have this weekend and you already own this game, then this gives you a good reason to get in with some buddies and have a good time. Next up, we got I Am Cat. That's right, you can turn yourself into a little feline and become quite the terror. Now, this game looks kind of fun. It's an early access game that is out on AppLab. It's sort of taken the internet by storm. Of course, it's cats and virtual reality, so people like to see both of those things. Honestly, this game looks pretty fun. I've yet to jump into it myself and experience it, but I mean, hey, this looks cool. If you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, I Am Cat is there for you. Next up, one of my favorite roguelikes, Sweet Surrender, just got a brand new Quest 3 update. So if you're a Quest 3 owner, this is the enhanced visual update that will make the game look real buttery smooth for you. On top of that, there's a couple of new enemy types and some other fun things added into this as well. But seriously, like, this is a long overdue situation for a lot of games to make their way to being Quest 3 graphically approved. But nonetheless, I'm pretty excited to jump back into this and re-experience it with its buttery, beautiful graphics. So if you own this game, again, another reason to jump into a game that doesn't even require you to spend money because you already own it. Or if you don't, time to check it out. Next up, if you own PSVR 2 and you own the premium membership, I mean, I don't think many people do, but it might be an incentive to be able to buy into it now because they are offering a bunch of VR games to come your way. I'm going to rattle these off real quickly. You're going to be able to get Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord, Walkabout Mini Golf, Synth Riders Before Your Eyes, and Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and 2 for free if you own the premium membership on the 6th of June. So the 6th of this month, you'll be able to get access to all of those games for free, essentially, whilst you're paying just a small price for the premium membership. Honestly, if you own a PSVR 2 and you don't own these games, it's pretty much a no-brainer to dive in there and sort of really get all of these games for free, as it is hours upon hours worth of fun. Well, you know, Ghostbusters in there, but the rest of these games, hours and hours of fun. So yeah, if you're interested in these and you're in a PSVR 2, it gives you a good reason to finally pick up your PSVR 2 again and get in there and have a freaking blast, as all of these games are pretty damn good examples of things on the PSVR 2. You know, we just really would love to see some more titles getting announced for the PSVR 2. I mean, I don't feel like I'm alone in this situation, and mini ramble coming on, but I was really hoping that we was going to see a lot more from the state of play yesterday, other than 2 games we already knew existed, rather than just extended gameplay for them. I was hoping to see something maybe exclusive coming to the PlayStation VR 2, or just a bit more of a variety that aren't just old games. I feel like right now the PSVR 2 is in that situation of like Quest 1 back in the day when we got Quest 2. Oh, look at these brand new titles that we're getting, but really they're just ports of games that already existed. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. At the moment, as a PSVR 2 owner, and a proud one at that because I do love the PSVR 2, it just feels very lackluster at the moment when we're not getting anything exclusive or exciting. It feels like those things are coming to other platforms, so it just sucks at the moment. Coming next week. Well, next week we have Silent Slayer Vault of the Vampire. This game is something that I'm actually very intrigued by. I have had a little go on this, but I won't talk about my experiences here. This game is pretty cool, and if you're looking for something to be able to get into that's a little bit spooky, but not so much so that it'll put you off playing it, it gives you a couple of good jump scares, and of course, other than that, you kind of have the puzzle game experience where you're trying to get into the chest without waking up the vampire and having it eat you, because, well, that kind of sucks. It also has a very cool MR mode as well. This one I'll talk more about next week, as I'll give it a mini review in the same way that I always do when games come out. We also have Journey to Foundation coming out on PCVR. This is going to be making its way to PCVR on the 7th of June. Now, this game's actually had a lot of work done on it to make it even better. Personally, I kind of liked this when it came out. It wasn't the most mind-blowing experience I've ever experienced, but nonetheless, it was a very cool thing. And if you're into the books from this sort of franchise, then I really think you'll absolutely dig this experience. Not only that, but on PCVR, it's going to look gorgeous. And on top of that, again, they have done a lot of work listening to the community to make this game be the best version of itself it can possibly be, through a ton of quality of life updates since its release. So now really is the time to jump in and experience it if you haven't yet. And that really will do it for today's video. That's a lot of news, guys. We've seen a lot in this video, a lot of games, and we've seen a lot more of some games like Behemoth, and finally at least seeing a bit of what Alien Incursion is going to be like. I'm glad to see that it's not going to be some bare bones experience. It looks like it's going to be kind of fleshed out and pretty Aliens grounded. Give me some of that. But nonetheless, I'm pretty excited about this week's VR news. Anyway, going into next week, we've got some crazy videos coming up next week. So enjoy your weekend, as you're going to be busy watching the channel next week. Keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like this video because it does truly help. And let me know what you're going to be playing this weekend in the comments down below. As I always like to know, kind of encourages me sometimes to be able to jump into something that I used to play, or maybe something I've never played before. Take it easy. Catch you next one. Peace out. Bye.